Next, I'd like to introduce the support staff and the planning commission members. Let's see here, let's start up here, I guess. To my right over here is Dave Scully. To my left is Linda McCabe. Over there in the blue shirt on my right is Matt Fuzz. He's the zoning and development officer. Here in the black mask on is our new member, Tony Sitter, member of the planning commission. Next to him is Pete Cabea, member of the planning commission. Denise Pizarro sitting over there on the right side. She's the township recording secretary. And let's see here. We've got Julie Maggio back here. She is the assistant zoning and development manager or officer. And on the right over here is Matt Waldinger. He's the director of planning and development. And in the middle right here is Jenny Ryerson, the township council. And I'm Gene Strohmeyer, the chairman of the planning commission. Before we begin, I'll call for a motion to accept the minutes of last month's meeting as written.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Did you make that correction? Did you make that correction? Okay, thank you. All right. Milford Planning Commission is a recommending body that hears testimony, asks and answers questions, deliberates and passes our recommendations on to the township supervisors who make the decisions on the issues brought before us. The conditional use plan application discussed tonight, if acted on by the planning commission, will be considered by the township supervisors at their regular meeting to be held on Tuesday, January 26th at 7 p.m. in this room here. That conditional use is a conditional use application on the traditional neighborhood development overlay district to construct 14 single-family dwellings with associated landscaping and stormwater management facilities in the C2 General Commercial, located along the south line of Westlake Road and north line of West 12th Street and track 280. Mr. Sanford.
Good evening, Mike Sanford, 4721 Atlantic Avenue. Along with me tonight is Bob Tanner from the applicant, Citadel Development Company. And we're here tonight, as you described, requesting conditional use approval for the project along Westlake Road. I'm sure you know, but the township has a overlay district in their ordinance, and this fits within the traditional neighborhood development portion of the overlay district. So the zoning of the property is commercial, but this development is done in conjunction with the TND, which requires a conditional use approval. So essentially, the TND overlay allows additional uses, residential for example, to be developed along arterial or collector roads. There are certain criteria in the ordinance that a conditional use has to meet. In our application package, I did provide a letter listing each of the criteria that the ordinance requires and how we comply with that. I can go through those if you'd like, or if you've reviewed those already, I don't need to go through each point by point. We did provide a building elevation of what the buildings will look like, and that should have been in your package as well. And if you'd like, don't have that, I'd like to see that, I can provide that. And we certainly understand that if this conditional use is acted upon by your board and the supervisors, that we need to come back before your board again at the land development stage, at which we would provide stormwater and all the other requirements. We understand this is conditional use, and there's like another approval level, land development following this. So we're here tonight really to answer any questions you may have about the project.
You could have a variety in the color of the houses, or are they all going to be the same?
It would all be the same.
lighting in the second row? I know you have street lights on the first row, but you have street lighting in the back. Is there a name on that back street?
I don't believe we have a name yet. No. So there will be site lighting, not in the traditional Penelec method that's done through the township. We prefer there, a little bit more intimate look is to actually have a post light in front of each and every unit. It
Okay.
cannot be controlled separately by the unit owners, but it's on a dusted-on sensor.
Okay.
A little bit of a lower level lighting than the, you know, the kind of garish tall lights that are through the rest of the township.
Will that be out near the street, you're saying?
It will be out away from the home, probably centered between the home and the street roughly.
Okay.
Yeah, I was looking at the open space
Yes.
in the back, and you've got the street on the east side that dead ends, and that's where the access would be. I would suggest, or like to suggest, that you put a trail back through there that would loop around back to Westlake Road, the sidewalk on Westlake Road and the hammerhead there. It would be tight with number 14, but maybe number 14 could be adjusted. But my thinking is that if you don't do it as part of the development, it's going to become the backyards of numbers 7 through 14, you know, and less inviting to the rest of the development. Plus, it'd give people another loop to walk around in there.
Okay.
So I don't think it's expensive, and I think anytime you put a trail in next to a development, you appreciate the value of it.
Yeah, we still want to be open to putting a trail in and maybe even some signage that says, you know, for all the residents' use.
Well, you might want to put, yeah, you want to put a sign that states that there's a trail there
Mhm.
to make sure everybody knows that it's the Westlake Village Trail, or whatever you're going to call it. I was looking at the trees, and I counted 7 trees here. And I think if you're trying to make it a nice residential area, you're going to want to increase the number.
So
Yeah.
those are the perimeter site trees we showed just to show how the fence ties in. There will be additional plantings at each unit, including a tree.
In the front or backyard?
In the front yard.
All right.
Usually go crimson maple, pin oak, something that's gonna get some height to it. Put one of those in the front of each yard.
I would also suggest, I don't know if, you know, you're showing trees on the main roadway on the north side, but not on the south side. I don't know if there's room for trees on both sides there. Plus, extending out to 12th Street, if you're trying to make it look like a residential approach into the development, you'd probably want to put some trees in that area as well. Make it a little more inviting.
You're talking the other side of the access road? I'm not clear of where you're speaking of.
Yeah, is that, do you have any control on the other side of the access road?
No, we do not.
Okay. And how about down toward 12th Street?
No, we do not. That's a car wash.
Okay.
And not shown on here, but if you look at the Healthcare Ventures Alliance directly next door, they have along Westlake Road, I believe, 7 large trees and a couple on the side. There are trees that are not shown on the site plan because it wasn't meant as a
Okay.
landscape plan. The trees that are on there were just to show kind of a few perimeter.
How wide is the access road, the paved area?
I don't have it labeled, but I would say it's around 22, 24.
Okay, and then how much additional space in the right-of-way?
Along 12th Street, there's 34-foot frontage. It's labeled on the drawing.
Oh, 34, okay, I see. So you got 6 extra feet on either side of the paved area, is that right? So there probably would be some room for plantings, wouldn't there? I mean,
Yeah, I know there's,
Uh,
that's a good point there. Where the electric transformer is, it says existing transformer, that line does go down that side of the road.
okay.
It really kind of encroaches into the bank property. I'd have to look and see where Niagara Car Wash has their entrances and exits. I know that's a lot of concrete along that road. I don't know if there's any grass
Yeah.
spacing.
All right, but it is your property to develop. And yeah, I know you got commercial neighbors, but that right-of-way is part of what you own, right? So you could improve it by some additional plantings.
Potentially. What's difficult is that, like, First National Bank, for instance, you see that ingress and egress takes up a large portion of that, and then in between those two, there is a large sign they have,
Yeah,
which obviously I'm trying to be a good neighbor with them as well, not cover their signage.
okay,
So we'd have to take a look at that and see if we can fit something in.
okay. I also thought perhaps you'd want to put a crosswalk. I mean, that's a PennDOT thing, I guess, but to connect this subdivision to residential, you know, just for pedestrian mobility and safety.
So our sidewalks are along, Westlake Road,
Right,
crossing Westlake Road.
I'm just talking painting a crosswalk there, over to Dundon Road. Just another thought.
We have to look at that because that would be a mid-walk crosswalk.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just saying, those aren't really in favor. I understand your point, but I'm just, it would be a mid-walk crosswalk, and I don't know how.
I'm just looking at this as an island of residential. It's not really connected to any other residential. I mean, you can go out to 12th Street and there's a sidewalk there now, I guess it'll take you over to Candy Lane. But then there's nothing else as far as walkability. So that was my logic anyway. And none of the stuff is very expensive. It's just, something to consider incorporating into the overall development.
Mhm.
I guess you need a highway occupancy permit, you know that. HOP,
That driveway already exists, both driveways, the 12th Street and Westlake Road, so they
Oh.
both already have permits
okay,
because they're existing accesses.
all right.
Mike, will you have to check just on the volume? I don't know what, if there's a change in classification, you may want to just check with PennDOT to make sure that you're covered.
I will definitely do that. They are low volume, so they go up to 750 vehicles a day, so I will check the volume.
Are you able to move Unit 14 to the west in order to access the common area from both north and south side? If you're coming in at the dead end to put a trail in, you want it to go somewhere, so how would you connect it? Because you're pretty landlocked with 14.
I'm thinking the trail may be more of a loop that we could do. There's really, we are, to your point, landlocked. There really is nowhere to move these units, unfortunately.
So Dave, that kind of defeats the partial purpose of having that if you can't access it. We'd only be able to access it from one point. If possible, it'd be nice to be able to loop that
Yeah.
on both, if possible, on both sides, so it would be more accessible to the whole neighborhood.
We can certainly take a look. It's tough to see exactly how much space is between the unit and the fence. It is potential. Mike is saying unit 14, maybe we would slide 2 feet closer to unit 13 to provide that spacing so we could show that. It wouldn't have to be very.
Oh, it could go 2 feet more?
We can go 2 foot south, actually, unit
Right.
14.
Because they're all 8 in between except for that one.
That's right. So what we could do is get just enough and, I mean, a walking trail doesn't need to be very
Yeah,
wide,
right.
4 feet or so, so
Yeah.
we could sneak that right around back.
You know, you have to have a variance from commercial to residential, because, lots 7, 8, 9, and possibly 10 are within 40 feet of a commercial area.
Well,
I understand that, and if it requires a variance, I do understand that. I guess my thought, if I have my thought was this is residential development next to residential,
Housing?
to the east, whichever you want to call that. But if I understand, our underlying district is commercial, so I understand that that may be what requires the variance. And so I understand your perspective on it. So if it's required, I guess, that wasn't the way I thought about it, but I can understand your thinking about that. So if it's required, then that's something I did anticipate, so we would do.
Have we?
I guess I'll just add that it would be required because, like you said, it's the underlying zoning district that determines the distance for the buffer, not the actual use.
And then sidewalks on the interior road, the 20-foot, the private drive there. You're not proposing to put sidewalks in there?
We are not. In our experience, what you're gonna have is something that needs to be maintained by residents. We have many condominium communities throughout Mill Creek and various other abutting communities that do not have private sidewalks within. Being a private road, it's very low traffic. People tend to walk in the roads anyways, and I know that's an overall Mill Creek Township guideline with residential, but being that it's a private driveway, we're figuring they're gonna access walking right in the driveway, going to the private drive, they can walk the trail loop and get around that way.
Okay. How many square feet are these, again? Just curious.
$1,422.
Okay. This isn't an age-restricted development?
No.
All I've got.
Are we okay about having sidewalks in the back road?
The ordinance requires sidewalks along the frontage.
Just the main frontage?
Yeah,
Okay.
public
Oh,
frontage.
okay, all right.
Yeah, right of ways.
I mean,
Okay, any other questions for the gentleman? Okay, does anybody else have any? Sir?
I have no questions.
Please, we need your name and address, please.
Name is Chris Konecny. I live on 4437 Wildberry Lane. I'm only 3 houses from the development plan. What is the price of each house? Estimated, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, yet to be determined.
Yet to be determined.
These are not low-income homes, these are all homes that would be very akin to homes that are in the neighborhood as far as cost-wise. I would say everything would be above $200,000. These are not a low-income type of property. It ranges from primarily 8 feet. There is, we're gonna change this one to 8 feet, and there's, one has larger, but primarily 8 feet between homes.
Now, what about like water, sewer, how's that gonna affect any other people around it, or is it gonna be totally separate from like from
Hmm. Yes.
We would connect to the main from Erie Waterworks and, Mill Creek Sewer Authority. And they have a lot of requirements that we have to meet, in order to fulfill that.
How big are the, what's the size, from the center of the road to the end of the property, what's the size of that?
Can you show me on here what you mean? Not sure. The lots per se? I have to, units are about 50 foot deep, 25 foot setback, 20 foot roads, that's 85 feet. So 85 feet from center line of road to the rear of the unit, and then from the rear of the unit to the property, it definitely varies.
Sir, if I could, just, maybe this will answer your question, maybe clarify a little. These will not be individual lots. They can't subdivide it. This would be one piece of property with the multiple homes on it. So I don't know what the ownership type would be, but the property would have to be held by one owner. Yeah, they would not be sold separately.
Matt, could you say that again?
This isn't a subdivision, so you're not gonna have individual lots that people will own. That, this is going to have to remain one piece of property. And then I don't know how the ownership of the units, if they're gonna be leases or condominiums or whatever is, you know, whatever type of,
Okay.
you know, occupancy of the structures, but the ownership of the parcel has to stay under one ownership.
Right. Single story. Essentially a two-bedroom ranch with a two-car attached garage.
Is all the stormwater being directed to the pond?
No, we're talking about in-ground stormwater.
What, I'm sorry, what kind?
This would be designed with an in-ground stormwater management system.
In-ground,
Mhm.
okay.
That's similar to what was done on Healthcare Ventures Alliance and First National Bank.
What does that entail then? In-ground,
Essentially, it's an infiltration system.
okay,
This area is a sandy type material,
yeah.
and our testing at Healthcare Ventures and the First National Bank shows that it's dry, it's groundwater, it's very nice sandy gravel.
So it'll absorb,
It's basically an infiltration system.
okay, very good.
Anything else? Okay, does anybody else have any comments, questions? Okay, thank you, sir. Gentlemen, over there. That is the only item we have on the agenda tonight. So I guess we will move right along here and discuss this and make our recommendations for the supervisors. I don't know that I need to read the whole thing over again. Just a conditional use application. Do I have motion of any kind or anything? Where's it? Oh, they're all right here.
Well, I guess I'll make a recommendation that we approve it with then the following list of conditions to be considered by the supervisors. Recommended for the supervisor's approval or rejection.
Okay.
So, consideration of a trail that extends through the open space area and that would connect to the sidewalk and the Hammerhead turnaround on Westlake Road. including a sign that designates it as a trail. Possibly more plantings. Along the driveway, the access driveway. Possibly crosswalk markings, so across Westlake Road. What else do we have?
To Duncan Road?
What was that?
To Duncan Road in that area?
Yeah, across to Duncan, yes. Road. I guess we answered the streetlight question, sidewalk question. The need for a variance, potentially the need for a variance. The commercial, where the commercial touches the R1 zoning because of the inability to put in a buffer there.
Behind units 7, 8, and 9, primarily.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that was it.
Okay, the trees were addressed. Internal sidewalks were addressed. Street lighting, okay, taken care of. The variance for the buffer.
I don't know that the trees were addressed. I think, you know,
Well, they said they were gonna put both trees and lights down along the, in the private drive area down through the center there.
well, I'm looking at the trees around the periphery, I guess. But you said that, Sarah, to represent, it was representative of the fence line or something.
Those are the trees that are within the fence line, correct?
Yeah. So, I guess the question is that enough?
And then trees with each unit, correct?
Pardon?
And then trees at each unit.
Well, yeah, they indicated that there would be a tree planted within each unit, so I don't know if that's a condition, but we might as well acknowledge that it's being proposed. And moving, potentially moving number 14 2 feet closer to 13 so that the loop trail can go in.
To access the sidewalk.
To access the sidewalk and the hammerhead.
Do you know what the distance is from the corner of number 14 to the fence? Looks to be about, right now, about maybe 4 feet.
It's close to 7 feet right now, because there's a 7-foot side yard shown on there, there's a dash setback on it. It looks to be right there, so if we move it unit 2 feet, it's gonna get closer to about 9 foot.
Okay.
We have a fence in that 9 feet, and then it's a trail as well.
All right.
Did you want to address the variety in color or just forget about it?
I don't know.
No, okay.
I don't know.
They actually look nice the way they are. Before you go, right?
They're nice looking,
Yeah.
yes.
All right. I'll second.
You might want to consider different shades of tan or something like that, I guess.
And I will second Dave's motion.
Okay, we have a second for the motion. Any further discussion amongst the planning commission members? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. We will make the recommendation to the supervisors with these thoughts on it, okay? Thank you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
oh. Say again?
We're good. I just said thank you.
Oh,
Back.
thank you. All right, we also have tonight the, let's Township zoning ordinance update, we're gonna go over that again or no? All right.
Yes, yeah, gonna be a pretty quick update. So again, you know, we're in the process of updating the Mill Creek Township zoning ordinance. We're at the point where we're pretty much polishing the zoning ordinance and trying to iron out some of the kinks. The subdivision land development ordinance will be the next project, and that actually will begin tomorrow. So we're moving along, should hopefully get something to everybody soon. With that, I'll move into the official map update. That should also be finalized shortly, hopefully tomorrow. Then we'll begin our public outreach, which is going to involve letters to anyone who's affected by any acquisitions, any proposed roads. There will be a public meeting prior to the 45-day comment period, and then there'll be the public hearing afterwards. So we're looking at probably about 3 months of public outreach. Then we'll open it up to the 45-day comment period, that's when the Planning Commission will receive their copies. Well, I hope to actually get it to you sooner, but, so then during that 45-day period, and that's probably gonna be, I think it's April, May, around there for the 45-day comment period. Should finalize the official map, you know, have it approved, recorded by June. So we have a deadline, or not deadline, but a light at the end of the tunnel on that one.
Okay.
Any questions about the updates?
Nope.
And if I so may be inclined to do this, would you like me to go over the annual report right now, or should I wait?
You can do that if you care to, yes.
Right now? Okay.
We all have copies of that somewhere, I believe.
I believe so. So for the 2020 annual Mill Creek Township Planning Commission report, all the regular meetings were held last year. During those 11 meetings, there were 12 small subdivisions, 6 land developments, 1 sketch land development, 6 rezonings, 2 conditional uses, and 1 ordinance amendment that were reviewed by the Planning Commission. You're also currently involved with updating the zoning ordinance, the map, and soon to be the subdivision and land development ordinance. We had no revisions to the comprehensive plan. It's only 2 years old, so give it time. We'd also, at this time, the Planning Commission would like to acknowledge the passing of longtime Planning Commissioner John Police. Mr. Police faithfully served on the Planning Commission since May 7, 2002. He was well respected and provided his insight to many projects over his 18-year career as a commissioner. He will be missed. I think everyone was affected by his passing. The recommendations to the Board of Supervisors from the Planning Commission would be, continue updating the zoning ordinance to be consistent with the comprehensive plan, as well as the CELDO, have that update to be consistent with the comp plan. Zoning map to be consistent with the future land use map, and continue updating the official map, which, like I said, if everything goes smoothly, we're looking at, I think, June to September should be finalizing all 3 projects, I would believe. And that would be respectfully submitted, so. Any questions or concerns about the annual report? At this time, I would like to ask for a vote to approve this, to send it to the Board of Supervisors, if that is apropos.
I'll make a motion that we accept the report as presented.
Second? B? You want to second it?
Tony second.
Hmm?
Yes.
Tony,
Second,
second.
I'm sorry, okay.
Didn't hear you.
I didn't hear, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Any discussion at all? We want to get you on the record. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Very good, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, and the last item on the agenda for tonight is nomination and election of officers for the year 2021. some point you're gonna sign this here, right?
Yes, I do have a copy of
The official one?
Yes, the official one, and
All right.
sign it
In
after.
gold, in gold, is that the one?
It is
All
in
right.
gold.
Okay.
It's true.
Our nominating committee sitting up front here.
Train was running.
There is actual work to be done. So we want to nominate a new vice chair.
You have to, once you have to nominate everybody, every position has to be nominated and voted on.
And
The way we've done
You
it.
could do the whole slate.
The way we've done it in the past a couple of times is if nobody wants to make any changes, we vote on the slate, you know, as it stands.
yes,
But we do have an official, an actual one we have to do this year because of,
John Police.
John, okay? So,
Do we have, we'd like to keep the same slate with the exception of nominating somebody for John Police's vice chair.
John Police's position,
then-
and then if it were to become David, then we have to fill the secretary's position also
Correct.
with, someone, okay?
Do you want to go into the vice chair position? Or do you like the
I
executive?
heard you did a tremendous job.
I tried to beat your record, I
That's the
did. I
Word on
tried.
the street.
I'll accept it.
Okay. All in favor of the, well, I guess we also need to replace
And then,
him first.
You need a second.
I'd be happy to take
Nom-
your spot as secretary.
Nominate yourself?
Can I nominate myself?
Yes, you
Yep.
can.
Okay, I'll nominate myself as secretary.
All right, so the slate of officers for the year 2021, I guess, is going to be me remaining as the chairman, Mr. Scully is the vice chairman, and Mr. Cabea will be the secretary. And once again, we don't need a treasurer. All right, all in favor of the slate of, for 2021?
Aye.
Anyone opposed to that? Very good, thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Any further business?
Wait a minute, Scott wasn't here, we could have nominated him.
You know, that really is the rule of thumb if you're not here.
We nominated, someone missed the motion, someone missed the second, we all vote.
Oh, nominated, so we need a motion?
We have to have a motion?
I'll
We
make
need
a,
like a motion to accept the nominations as placed on
yes,
the
because he just
floor.
nominated, he didn't motion.
Oh,
Very good. I'll make a
Okay.
motion that we accept the slate as presented by our nominating committee.
And I'll second that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Thank you.
Good catch.
You've done good.
All right.
Good
All right,
job. Pete.
I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
I'll
We
first.
Stand adjourned at 7:41. Thank you.
The first goes first.